Hi everyone, welcome to this evening's webinar with Cassava Bags Australia. I'm Zoe, I'm a campaign manager here at Birchal, and just before I introduce the team at Cassava Bags Australia, or Cassava Bags as I'm going to call them going forward, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that I am based on tonight, which is also where Birchal is based, which is the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin nation. And we pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. These webinars are a fantastic opportunity to learn so much more about the incredible businesses on the Birchal platform and hear directly from the founders. And tonight I'm here with the team from Cassava Bags. They can all introduce themselves individually shortly. This is their second race with Birchal, and I'm very excited for everyone to hear about what they've done with their business since their first race, because it's pretty incredible. This evening session is just going to be a quick presentation from the team, and then we want to leave as much time as we can for the Q&A session. So please be sure to drop your questions in that Q&A bubble that you'll see at the bottom of your Zoom screen. And then, if you have any questions that you might wanted to have asked as well, you can upvote them so that I'm sure to prioritize which questions to ask the team first. And just very quickly, if you're not familiar with crowdsourced funding, I definitely encourage you to head to the Birchal website. We've got a help center which explains, what kind of investing this is, which is really important if it is your first time. But, it's a very exciting way of investing because you're able to invest in small or scaling businesses like never before. With traditional fundraising methods, there is usually a cap on how many investors a company can take on. So with crowdsourced funding, those limits don't apply. And, it's very feasible for companies to, take investments from people who really believe in their product and want to get around them. So without much further ado, I'll hand over to the team to talk about Cassava Bags and what they've been doing.
Thank you, Zoe. Good evening. I'm Bruce Rossi, the President of Purpose at Cassava Bags Australia. It is an honour to stand before you today and share the remarkable journey we have embarked upon in the world of sustainable packaging. At Cassava Bags Australia, we pride ourselves on being pioneers in the production of 100% natural, biodegradable and home compostable bags that are entirely free from plastic. Our commitment to environmental responsibility has led us to develop innovative solutions that not only address the pressing issue of plastic waste, but also contribute to the well-being of our precious marine life. Imagine for a moment a bag that dissolves in water, leaving no trace of harmful materials behind. That is precisely what we have achieved. Our bags are not only biodegradable, but also safe to be consumed by marine life, further reinforcing our dedication to protecting our ocean and their inhabitants. One of the core values driving our work at Cassava Bags Australia is versatility. We have harnessed the power of bioresin to replicate any single-use plastic products, providing sustainable alternatives to plastic packaging and other plastic purposes. Our solutions are tailored to meet the unique needs of industries that rely on plastic in their daily operations. From food and beverages to retail and hospitality to construction and manufacturing, our bioresin products are revolutionizing the way businesses approach sustainability. By choosing our cassava bags, companies can fulfill their packaging and operational requirements without compromising their commitment to reducing environmental footprint. Our journey is not just about providing a product. It's about igniting change, shaping a future where plastic pollution becomes a distant memory. We believe that sustainability and profitability can coexist, and through our innovative solution, we aim to inspire others to follow suit. Today, I invite each and every one of you to join us on this transformative path. Let us come together, embrace the power of sustainable alternatives, and make a lasting impact on our planet. Together, we can create a world where nature thrives, where marine life is protected, and where the legacy we leave behind is one of responsible stewardship. Thank you for your attention, and I look forward to the journey ahead with each and every one of you. And with that, I will pass you to Chun, Head of Innovations.
Thank you, Bruce, and good evening, everyone. And thank you all for joining us. I hope you're all warm and comfortable. My name is Chun, Director of Innovation. I would like to elaborate on some of those points Bruce mentioned, starting with research and development. As a company, we work in partnership with starch and resin manufacturers to develop new and better formulas, creating sustainable products for a global market. With our last capital raise, we've utilized the funds to create a new water-resistant formula with our cassava starch. This resulted in another environmentally friendly alternative that has helped us extend our reach into other sectors. And we won't stop there. We are continuing to develop more resins for different applications, such as injection molding. This will further allow us to create bioresin utilities, such as cutlery, cups, straws, and that's just for the food and beverage industry. So we have a very exciting journey ahead in the space of hard bioresin utilities. Moving along to innovation, our Cassava Bags Australia, we work with businesses and companies to find sustainable solutions for their day-to-day operations. What that means is we basically are invited to see what single-use plastics and other problematic waste they incur. And then, utilizing our cassava bioresin, we replicate a sustainable solution for them. For example, with our cooperative partnership with Bupa, a leading medical company, aside from replacing the obvious quick switch items, such as your bin liners, retail bags, and mailer satchels, together, we've actually helped each other develop a new product, such as a pill bag to replace plastic bottles. For their dental facilities, we're replacing the once plastic headrest covers, tray liners, and boot sleeves with our very own cassava biofilm. For optical, we're replacing the optical sleeves that contains prescription glasses. And this is just the beginning. And we're starting right here in Australia across hundreds of these facilities and offices that Bupa own and operate in. Now with Bupa, they're just waiting for us to expand our operations so we can supply them on a global scale and help them reach their sustainable goal of becoming net zero by 2040. In production, we work with several facilities across Southeast Asia to ensure that we have a large production capacity. This enables us to cater to large purchase orders, which we're receiving with distributors and companies all around the world. Working with these manufacturers of raw materials and final products grants Cassava Bags Australia the required certification, such as home and industrial compostability. Furthermore, we as a company require that the manufacturers carry ethical certifications and audits, and not leaving any impacts behind. Now, with that, our cassava bags, we took this product to the market and entered ourselves in a competition hosted by Bupa. Out of 900 startups around the world, I am proud to say that Cassava Bags Australia came first and walked away as the competition winners. That win has resulted in us working in tandem with Bupa, hence the large purchase orders that await to be fulfilled. And one more honourable mention, Cassava Bags Australia was awarded the best biodegradable shopping bag of 2023 by APAC Insider, which is an Asia Pacific business news publication. So in the last 14 months, we've positioned our company to be on the cusp of a great trajectory for growth and expansion. Thank you all for your time. And I'd like to introduce you to our Chief Operating Officer, Tulusa.
Thank you, Chun. I'm Tulusa, the Head of Operations. Cassava Bags Australia is experiencing significant market share growth driven by the urgent need to address plastic pollution. As ESG concerns become a top priority for many companies our traction in the market is accelerating rapidly. Our partnerships with BD Bags, which is Australia's leading distributor, holding about 70% market share in the packaging and wrapping material industry, has propelled us forward as we replace plastic packaging for their 17,000 plus active clients. The recent single-use plastic ban in Australia and globally has opened up doors for us to expand swiftly across multiple industries. Along with assisting companies in achieving their net zero goals, we are also in high demand with supermarkets and the e-commerce industry, helping companies like Bupa Healthcare make the transition to a net zero and take immediate action to embrace the use of our products for positive change. And with that, thank you. And let me pass you to Matthew, our Chief Financial Officer.
Thank you, T. And good evening, everyone. I'm Matthew Wilding, and I'd like to give you some highlights about Cassava Bags Australia and our commitment to sustainability and affordability. In the past year, we've made remarkable strides in reducing manufacturing costs and enhancing the efficiency of our raw materials. Through strategic innovations, we've successfully optimized our production process, which has resulted in a significant cost savings in manufacturing. This has allowed us to offer our eco-friendly alternatives to single-use plastics without compromising on affordability. Our focus on maximizing the efficiency of our formulas used to make our cassava-based bioresin has been instrumental in driving down production costs and achieving a balance between environmental responsibility and competitive pricing, showing that sustainability, innovation, and cost-effectiveness can go hand in hand. With your investment in Cassava Bags Australia, we will be able to take these innovations that we have developed over the past year to market at a price that's competitive with traditional plastics. Also, with your investment, we will be able to implement these changes and reduce production costs and increase raw material efficiency, which will give us the ability to bring our sustainable products and solutions to larger market segments, including supermarket chains and industrial cleaning companies, where the price for eco-friendly products is a major factor in adopting the use of sustainable alternatives like cassava bags and cassava cups, compared to traditional plastic products. With these innovations, the financial state of Cassava Bags Australia is robust, and we will be able to now provide access to biodegradable and compostable plastic alternatives that are completely non-toxic for our environment at a price that is competitive with plastic. We want to also thank you for your support so far as we continue this transformative journey, and we'd like to welcome you to a question and answer session.
Thank you, Zoe.
Thanks, team. Got some really great questions coming through on that Q&A box. And yeah, I'm just going to jump right into it. I'm not too sure who's going to answer the questions for me, so I'll just let you guys pick and choose. First question we received this evening, and is one that I've seen be asked many times over, is what happens if the bags inadvertently get wet? And more specifically, a question that I've seen sometimes is what happens if my shopping bags get wet or if it's raining. So yeah, it'd be great to talk a little bit more about how you're trying to prevent that from happening, while obviously keeping your bags water soluble.
Chun, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, not a problem. Yes, that is a very frequent question and one that we get asked all the time. So these bags are built fit for purpose, and if they do come in contact with water or rainwater, it will soften a little bit, but it won't dissolve immediately. The demonstrations that we show everybody, we utilize hot water, and that accelerates the process and helps it really dissolve quickly. So generally speaking, you are safe. And to prove that, there are videos on the internet of myself and Toulouse holding the bags up with products in there, and we get hosed down at a car wash, and they uphold with their strength and integrity. Furthermore, we've actually purposely set up a spray test where we put some fruit and vegetables into a bag and suspended it and sprayed it with a water bottle, and it took about over 45 minutes for it before it started to really weaken the side of the bag. So unless you get caught in the rain for 45 minutes, I think you have bigger problems at hand. So, but all in all, it's actually fit for purpose and it's safe to be used in the rain.
Cool, thanks. This one's from David. Can the cassava plastic or the cassava product be used for food product packaging?
Matthew?
Yeah, so we are the current the water soluble product, not as much, but our new products of water resistant bags, we will have a line that will be able to be used for water for food packaging. Yes, food safe food packaging.
Cool. And if they're going to be water resistant, how are they going to break down?
So even though they're water resistant, they are still 100% compostable, 100% biodegradable, and certified on both those methods, and still made from cassava. So it's just a different way that we formulate the cassava starch and modify the starch so that it's not soluble in water.
Cool. And how long would it take for that to all biodegrade or break down in compost?
Okay, so it's into international standards for home compostability within 12 months, and if it's in an industrial compost, it would decompose within 6 months.
Cool.
Our bags also they biodegrade much faster, but we comply with all the international standards.
Great, thank you. This one is from Nick. So what differentiates your bioplastic offering from others on the market?
John, would you like to answer that?
So yes, the difference between our products and others in the market, we use more natural components. So, and the other difference is we use cassava starch. Now, the great thing about our products compared to the others is the other products out in the market still contain certain elements of plastic, or they contain other types of materials that really require a proper waste management disposal formula for it to really safely biodegrade back into the earth. Whereas our products alone actually safe for the environment. Hence, earlier on, Bruce mentioned that it is safe for marine life to eat, and we have demonstrated that we can drink it after. So it is non-toxic. There's no heavy metals compared to what's out there in the market.
Cool. Are there a lot of other competitors in the using cassava materials out there right now?
Sure. There are some out there, but none of them are able to produce at the prices that we're able to due to our modified formulas, as well as none of them yet have a water resistant bag that can have a much larger application use, as well as medical certification. And we are the first to have the tensile strength and the payload abilities that we have that are available with our bags.
Awesome, great answer. Fiona, what intellectual property protections has Cassava registered, and where is your IP unique? And do you have an IP registered?
So our IP, it's not fully registered yet. We are in the process with the lawyers getting it submitted in Australia to start. And as of that, all the formulas that we keep are very close to our chest, but it is in process of getting it IP'd and registered in Australia first, and then we'll go on to international IPs.
Cool. This one's from Ben. Sorry, the questions keep moving as they keep getting upvoted. Sorry, I'll ask one from David, which is, how do the cassava bags handle being used in a freezer?
Okay, so our water soluble bags are not intended for being put in a freezer, but our water resistant bags, we do have a process that we can put them in to make them antifreeze, and they will last just as and work just as well as any traditional plastic.
Cool, thank you. Another one from Fiona. This is a great opportunity to name drop, I reckon, but Fiona's asking, can you name some of your major customers, including how long they've been customers and what their NPS is for cassava bags? I feel a bit daft. What's NPS? Mm,
Not sure.
Sorry, Fiona, MPS is a little bit lost on us, but we'll just try and answer the
That's
question
okay.
about the major customers.
100%. Chun, would you elaborate on that one for our customers?
Yes, no, definitely. Look, one of the most exciting ones that we're proud to mention is Bupa. And why I choose to mention Bupa is because they're such a large conglomerate. They not only have operations in Australia, but they have operations globally. So we're talking about the UK, South America, across Asia Pacific, Dominican Republic. They're quite a large global company. And it's exciting to work with them because they can potentially already take our maximum capacity for the production, and which hence is why we're jumping onto the second round, because we want to scale our production and meet their demand. And now their demand is huge, but moving forward, we do want to help them, assist them to reach a sustainability goal of reaching net zero by 2040. So they have dozens and dozens of products that are waiting to be solved in terms of getting a sustainable solution, such as their medical gowns that they utilize on a daily basis several times. And there's a lot more exciting other products that we're using with them. And we've been operating with them for at least about 6 months now. And the orders are looking very good with Bupa.
Awesome. Can you maybe talk about BD bags too, and Amazon as well?
Yeah, so definitely. So with our relationship with BD Bags, they have, as we mentioned, 17,000 plus active clients. Now they have a great sales team and network in Australia and New Zealand, with an outreach over to the United States. And they run and educate programs to their clients to try and help them become more sustainable. We don't really mention who their clients are because that's their confidential information. But we're absolutely happy with our relationship with them because they're really a large force to drive our products across Australia and help us distribute that with a lot of logistical ease.
Cool. And Pooja's a legend and just said NPS is for Net Promoter Score, so the customer satisfaction score, basically. So do we have any word on how customers are finding the bag?
Well, in terms of a score, we didn't get scores, but in terms of engagement, we get a lot of positive feedback from our clients and customers, especially through our distributor BD Bags. We get good returns, and we're building on a lot of innovative and new custom products for their clients as we speak. And those inquiries come in on a daily basis. So I can only say that we have a very great positive engagement or score, so to speak, with our clients.
Yeah, I think something else we can add to that is we haven't directly scored it, but with their repeat orders, I think that states a lot that they're happy with the product. They're increasing their order quantities and as well as the type of products that they're ordering. So I think that's a good statement for their satisfaction in the product.
Also, just another question about Bupa. Are you able to just talk about how long your contract is with Bupa right now, or is it just a bit of an ongoing relationship?
So just at this point, we have just in the last 6 months have a master service agreement with them. Really good question, because at the moment we're already replacing to 200 dental facilities, optical clinics, 530 hospitals. So we're replacing all their bin liners to begin with. We're doing tray covers, we're doing headrest covers, we're doing all their protective, and with our water resistant, that's actually penetrating the market in terms of like all the hazard materials, all that. So we've got the certifications for that also. Now, in moving from that, their goal is, so just to give you a bit of a brief understanding, is we look after corporate responsibility when it comes to waste management. So yes, it looks like, we are the product that solves the solution, but we're really in the space of meeting ESGs, so the environmental social governance. And we really work in regards to the UN's SDG, which is their sustainable development goal. So we focus on that, and their budget actually comes from that in terms of replacing everything that they can do, especially in the medical industry, being one of the leaders in plastic waste. So our relationship with them is by 2040, try eliminate everything for plastic waste. Now, we're very fortunate to have this relationship with them. This is actually gave us, they're flying us in July to Europe to present at the Global Eco Disruptive event, which what that means is all their procurement will be attending the event, where we're looking at ideas on what we can do to remove plastic from their whole operation. This is a big project, obviously, for us, but a lot of it we need, basically why we're coming around for this second funding, is a lot of these things need to have a lot of research and development. And we're just really trying to get a better understanding on how we can actually start helping companies reach net zero pretty much. And I think that's where we align our company and our branding in terms of that.
Cool, thank you. Ben has asked, what do you feel are some of the reasons why, as an example, major retailers, Coles and Woolies, have not yet switched their plastic shopping bags to yours or other plant-based products yet?
Okay, I think in regards to that, our first round when we came on was a really good way to, at first, I think it was just to kick off the business. So we had a bit of an understanding on a bit of direction where we're heading. To answer your question, I think what has happened is by having all our 500 investors, a lot of investors actually put great inputs, and we're super thankful for that, because that's actually helped us grow to where we are today, because we really do want to listen to our investors, because we believe they're a part of the business now, and they've actually given us a lot of contacts to their local councils, and which is expanded to our pet waste bags being available at local councils. So with that, I think we just haven't had the right connection to get us really into Coles and Woolies. But at the same time, we are trying. And if we can actually really land an opportunity like that, we are definitely ready to scale. And with all the news happening and, you know, everything on the ban of single-use plastic, we're really trying to bring people, not only, you know, businesses, but investors, to come in and really help us support a business where we can actually grow in multiple sectors, from construction to shopping centers to retail to e-commerce bags, just to be able to penetrate the market in a way that we can actually really take it to another level, I guess, hence why we are here today.
Cool.
Yeah, also a little something more on that. Initially, when we provided quotations to the larger supermarkets, the pricing was not in line with what they needed. But after this year plus of development, we are able to now match the pricings that they require and meet the same pricing that they have that they would have had for single-use plastic bags in the past. And we are looking into the kind of contracts and well, of course, we need the funding to be able to scale to the size needed that they need. Their minimum contract sizes are 10 million bags a month. So that's why we're here, to help raise the funds so we can provide for those kind of contracts and provide compostable, eco-friendly products to the large supermarkets and the companies that use the most amount of bags.
Cool. So on top of investing, everyone can also write a letter to Coles and Woolies to ask them to now use Cassava bags. This one's from Hadrian. I remember plastic bags were brought in because we had to save the trees from being used for paper and cardboard bags. If this ramps up, what is the size of the crops required? And are we going to require large new agricultural farming? So that's a great question, because it gets, we talk about what's required with, producing the cassava.
Yeah, most definitely. Matt?
So the production of cassava internationally is over 300 million tons a year. Not majority of that is for food. With our formulas, we do not need food grade or high grade cassava to make our products. We use strictly the non-food grade cassava. So we are more or less using the waste that can't be used anyway during growth for cassava food production. And we're able to utilize the starch, the high amounts of starch that are in those non-edible cassava roots, and produce our bags with those.
Cool. Is cassava farming water intensive, or are there any other considerations that
it's a very, very hardy root vegetable, so it can grow almost anywhere and very easily. We say we can put it in the ground and it will start to grow. It does require water for the first 3 months of its growth, but after that you can almost go with no water and it still grows full form.
Cool. I guess this is another good question from Ben, because you were mentioning that, your last race had led to councils approaching you. Ben's asking if you have had any federal or state government agencies or departments been in contact with you to work alongside you to tackle the plastic waste crisis.
Chun?
Yes, so we don't have any of those contacts directly contacting us. We've had a few leads on contacts through LinkedIn, although having said that, we do have some organizations just outside of that who are very closely connected with the government who are coming towards us to try and find that solution towards them, which is probably the best way to handle it, because it's their job, these organizations' jobs, to kind of bring people together. So at the moment, we're actually going to be working very closely with those types of organizations.
I can feel myself starting to make a running joke, which is now write a letter to your local and state representative.
Olympic.
So Ben has also asked, can your bags have business logos, emblems printed on them, and can they be color dyed, etc., so that various businesses could use them for their branded bags instead of traditional plastic bags?
Certainly,
Yes.
We can do multiple. It is possible on a large scale to do multiple colors, but our focus is using our green color to help represent the brand and help people also understand that the difference between cassava bags and ordinary plastic bags, because they are very alike in feel. But on large scale orders, yes, it is possible to do custom printing and branding on the bags.
And I think just coming off that, it has been a really good statement in saying that a lot of the business do keep just because the aquamarine color that we have going on is the natural resin of the way we produce the bags, and we can dye it, and none of our dyeing is toxic. We don't use, it's all natural. I guess also in saying that, no, it's been really good, and a lot of brands do put their branding along with our brand, with our Cassava Bags logo. But the strong message that we do come across is that let's save the world together, and I think that's been a good push in campaigning in regards to why people are actually adopting to our branding.
Cool. Yeah, more brand recognition helps drive more change.
Yes.
This one's from Siobhan. So Siobhan just went to another webinar that has been held by Birchal with a company working in an eco space. And one of the most frequent things that they were talking about, it's Seabin, by the way. So for everyone's awareness, Seabin collects plastic from the ocean using a big sucky machine. And Seabin were talking about Kit Kat packaging being one of the most common things found in the ocean. So do you think you would be able to develop products that, are able to even replace confectionery packaging that, is obviously so problematic and does end up in?
Yes. That's a really good question. And most definitely, I think when we first entered the market, that's something that we always wanted to achieve. And I think it's been it was a really hard barrier to market to penetrate in that area, being the size of who we were at the time last year. I think this year, because of Bupa, all credit to them. The only reason why we are here today is, one, it's because of being virtual on the first time, but secondly, it's captivating the audience like Bupa that's actually put us really on the global map. So when we first started, we had a few cafes in Byron Bay. We had a few it was mainly all hospitality and retail. And I think since then, because of Bupa, we got so many people knocking on our door just to not to say that this is the people that we do have, but we have sponsors coming to us. We have Johnson & Johnson talking to us. We got Starbucks in Europe. We're actually flying to Europe it's a pilot program, so I can't say this is actually going to happen for sure. But what we do know, we're doing a pilot program to start replacing the coffee cups there. So with our coffee cup, just to give you guys just a bit of an understanding on our new product range, there's no plastic lining in it. It's straight cassava lining. That's using our water resistant, no plastic on the lid as well. And that's something that we actually love sharing that with all our investors. Like whenever you guys want any new products, we love to share it with you guys because you guys are just part of the business as much as we are. So a lot of things that has happened is their local businesses, like the coffee shop that they go, can we send some samples over? And you know what, we'll be more than happy to send you guys as many as you need just to be able to promote, because it's your business as well at the end of the day. You know, as much as it's ours, we believe like the legacy is for all of us to be able to do something that what we can achieve, and just removing plastic, I guess, from the environment.
It's got a lot of questions and not much time left, so I'll just keep going through the most upvoted questions. So if you are going through them in the audience there, please let us know which ones you would like answered, because I'm just going from the top right now. I guess a good question would be, you know, and I haven't seen this answered yet, this is just something I'm coming up with now, is do you see there being any particular plastic replacement products that you maybe couldn't manufacture in the, you know, so forth future?
Okay, so one is straws. For us, it's the race to the moon. We're trying our best to obviously replace that. Just because, not to say there's nothing wrong with paper straws, but if we can replace that, that's something that, you know, we've actually started from the very beginning. And Chun, head of innovation, he's come up with so many ideas from even pill medicines, and we've been trying to obviously put starch into that to create its durability. But to be honest, we can't, we're nowhere near it, to be fair. It's one of our difficult tasks. But I think the cups have been the biggest one. Our UPS, our unique selling proposition, is definitely our water resistant, because now companies such as mailers, that was a big factor that we can't actually do water soluble just purely because it might get wet, right? So we've actually made the water resistant, and now we're already transitioning to e-commerce and being able to provide that to the market. And that's going to happen with a lot of our products. Like, so there's a lot of things that our water soluble can't do, but there's a lot of things that it can achieve. So like, just say pet waste bags, we can't make that. You can't use paper, or bin liners, you can't use paper. You can actually use our water soluble bag due to its durability, due to the engineering of it, of making it, we double extrude it. We make sure that the strength and capability is there for it to be fit for purpose. So
yeah, just to clarify that on a bit too, when Bruce was saying the straws is our water soluble products cannot be made into straws, but we are very close to, and soon we'll have a straw that's made from our water resistant bioresin.
Awesome, thank you. This question's from Anita, and it's one I'm actually going to answer, which is, what is the investment amount and what would be the return on investment and over what period of time? So this is where I would say it's really important to become familiar with the type of shares that you would be purchasing through Birchal, because crowdsource funding shares are unique and different in many senses. Usually when you're investing with Birchal, you are investing in early stage companies, and we are heavily governed by ASIC. So ASIC considers a lot of future projections and talk about return on investments potentially misleading and speculative. So with crowdsource funding shares, you should consider this a very long-term investment. And when it comes to return on investment, there is no answer to it, because you can't sell your shares like you would be if this company was listed on the ASX. It is considered a long-term investment until Cassava bags were maybe to either, list on the ASX, to be, completely purchased or acquired by another company. So I'll try and find a help article which explains this a little bit, but essentially these are shares for the long term and they're not liquid. So they are with you once you purchase them. You purchase them in the faith that the company is going to grow and go ahead and do massive things. And that's not to say that they can't, like Cassava bags will not be returning dividends to shareholders, within the few years time, but to be talking about what the potential return on investment is not something that can be commented on at the moment. Investment amount. So Cassava Bags is going to go live with their offer on Tuesday. So you'll be able to see what the terms of the offer are when we open on Tuesday. It would be great if you express your interest in investing, because that does give you early access to the offer. So you can be one of the first people to invest and also get to see, the terms of the offer before we go public with it. But yeah, I definitely recommend going to the Birchal Help Centre and just learning a bit more about how these shares all work and what you should expect with your return on investment going forward. But I'll also try and find something to link in here before we close off the webinar. Sorry, very long-winded answer. Hannah has asked, what are the main chemicals involved in the manufacturing process and what environmental risks do they pose?
Matt?
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Yes. What are the main chemicals involved in the manufacturing process and, what environmental risks do they pose?
Okay, so we're not going to give exact components because there's a lot of secrets in there, but primarily is cassava starch and vegetable oils. And with all the resins and the final products, we've tested them. We've had toxicology tests done for both water and soil and plants growing in soil, and they all come out as zero toxicity based on all the international standards for toxicity in byproducts at end of life.
Awesome. Sorry, I'm just trying to paste that article that I mentioned in here about the return on investment question. Thank you, Matthew. Sorry, great answer. Anita also asked, I understand that the market for this in countries like Australia that have demographics aware of the need for products, but do you have a game plan for Asian countries where there is excessive plastic use and they may not be aware of the need for such a product? And then Rob also just chimed in by saying, agreed with huge potential in Asia. The plastic use is immense. So
okay. I'll be more than happy to answer this one. Okay, so this is pretty much confirmed, and there will be a signing ceremony as of, I believe, on the 12th, and we'll release that to news to you guys, all our investors. But so we've had a meeting. Sorry, just to give you a quick understanding, I'm based out in Thailand. Chun is in Sydney, and Matthew is in Indonesia, and T is in Sydney as well. So I look after the resin component and Matthew looks after the production. So we work with local farmers and we just ensure that everything is pretty much done correctly up to standards. But in terms of that, we're signing from a company which I'll give you the news. It's the Retail Chain Association for Asia, which covers Japan, Singapore, Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, and the Philippines. Now they play a massive effect in the garbage patch, the plastic island pollution in terms of the island. They play a big percentage when it comes to waste, and you guys are definitely right. And so what we're doing is we're doing a signing where they're trying to replace everything plastic slowly in measurements from the retail chains to work down towards the hawker streets, like all the food markets and things like that. But that's pretty much where my position is as the president of Purpose, where I talk to companies about looking after their corporate responsibilities. I think that's where we use our product to talk about corporate responsibilities, but we work with distributors as they're our vehicle to market. So for instance, like BD Bags, they actually take us to market when it comes to sales. We just focus on corporate responsibilities. We talk with companies, we talk to AirAsia, we talk to Qantas. We just talk how we can achieve their net zero plans. So in terms of your answer, we are definitely working across Asia and trying to, like you guys know, there's a massive problem there and we're definitely here and they're definitely listening to us. So it's something that there will be a news article on the 12th of June where there will be a picture of myself doing a signing in regards to that.
Awesome. So I think we've answered the question about just environmental impacts of growing cassava and also producing the bags. So I'll leave that one. Nick has asked, what is your current price point difference at the moment versus traditional plastics and other bioplastic options?
Yep, Nick, good question. I think when we first started, we were extremely high. Now we've been able to reduce it now to, traditional plastic is about 6 to 8 cents. We're sitting at about just under 20 cents. That's been a barrier to market. That's been one of the biggest hurdles. Now, what we've realized in terms of scaling with Bupa, we've actually been able to reduce that even less. It's a numbers game. And so what happens if we buy more resin and, look after the manufacturing in a more scalable situation, the price can actually, just the amount of plastic is just too much. To meet 6 cents is really hard. So one of the reasons why we are on Birchal today is we want to start bulk buying because we have the demand already. So if we're able to meet the demand, we'll only be 10% higher than traditional plastic bags. Just to give it to you in a nutshell.
Yeah, at scale, we'll only be about 10% different than traditional plastic.
Maria has asked, where do you source your more raw materials? And is the supply stable? Matthew, I think you kind of answered this before, but
yeah, so we source from multiple countries, but the supply is definitely stable. There's an excess of cassava produced that's not be able to be used for any food purposes. So that's where we come in.
Cool.
Yeah, just coming off that, we 100%, there's no more deforestation when it comes to our product. Like we don't have to plant trees, which takes hundreds of years. Our product is really, it's a rotational crop any season. It takes 3 to 6 months. So we can just really just scale, and there's just an abundance of cassava, just all in the tropical countries.
Awesome. I guess that might be a good lead on to this question, which is from Maria, which is what is your current production and manufacturing capacity? Are you able to supply current and future demand, and what are your expansion plans, which you've already touched on? But yeah.
Definitely. Okay. When we first started, we're proud to say that we can produce 1.5 million bags in a month. Now we can do that in 2 days. So just to give you a perspective, like we can move fast, and we can actually, just because where we're meeting with the demand, we can definitely scale to operation. And with Bupa, like Chun said, it's not to say that's our priority, but we look after them, and we're going as fast as we can to meet market demand.
You'll be going crazy if you're doing Starbucks and all these other businesses as well.
It's a good problem. That's a good problem. And like, just to say, we're in it for the long run, so we absolutely love what we're doing, and we actually can't wait to be a brand. Like we're on the global stage, but we're not globally known, right? So when we're hoping like we can really expand to global presence where we become the ultimate solution at the end of the day.
James has asked, what is the shelf lifetime of the product? So I think that might be in regards to like once it's produced, then how long does it go?
Okay. Just coming off that, we pack our water resistant bag in our, we pack our water soluble bag in our water resistant bag. As long that is not open, that's fine. But once that is open and air and moisture gets into it, we're talking about 2 years before before it starts cracking. So as long as the package is always remain sealed, it's fine.
Cool.
Yep.
Okay. I think this one has been touched on, but Cassie has asked, what is your market growth strategy for the next 3 to 5 years? And I think that'll also be really touched on in your offer document, which people will be able to read more of when we do open up the offer on Tuesday. But yeah, obviously, the world's your oyster, and you're trying to go as big and far as possible.
100%. Cassie, that's a really good question. Our trajectory in terms of that is in our offer document, but we are focusing on industries, and we're taking it by phases. So we're not trying to say we can do everything, but we do work with companies that are using it as a priority, and we'll definitely heavily focus in that industry. So for example, the medical industry, because we're so well equipped now in that area, if Johnson & Johnson, which obviously they've already approached us, it'll be a simple switch, because now we can do all their hazard bags, their hair covers, their dental bibs, the aprons. We're talking about nappies as well, and nappy waste. What else is there? So there is a simple switch when it comes to that, but in terms of our trajectory, it all is listed on our CSF document.
Awesome. Throwing out the big names there. So this one's from D, and it says, how much raw material do you require to produce, say, 100 bags? And what kind of land do you require to produce the 100 bags?
Okay. We work in tonnage. Matt,
Okay.
can you?
Yeah, so depends on what type of bag and everything like that. We don't do the farming of the cassava, so it depends on how the farmer grows it, how close and everything. We don't focus on that side so much. We mainly focus on once we get the cassava, producing the starch from it, the different kinds of starch we can make, the modifications of the starch we can make, and then the final products. But just so you have an idea, from a raw cassava root, because there's moisture and a lot of other things in there, it's about 1/3. So for 1 ton of resin, we use about 3 tons of raw cassava root. So that's us getting rid of the plant of the tree, the skin, and all the water that's involved, and then we come out with the product.
Cool, thank you. We don't have much longer left, so I'll just try and get a few more questions in. Sorry, I'm just having
an exciting question, or at least a question about if someone's asking if we go 10 million bags per month level, what would the cost be? Yep. Which is quite exciting for us because that's what we've been focusing on for the last year. We can pretty much bring the cost of our water resistant bags down to the price of LDPE, which is one of the cheaper plastics on the market right now. So we can pretty much be 9 and 10 with the cost of plastic.
That's awesome. Cool. Thanks. Yeah, I'm just going off the top rated questions. So if you see any that are coming through, go for it. This one's from Pooja. So Pooja was asking, what do you have a view on your current net revenue retention? I guess, Pooja, revenue and financial figures will be available in the offer document on when the offer opens on Tuesday. So we won't discuss that too much, but are the repeat orders significantly larger from your customers? Do you have any metrics to showcase the retained orders growth? No.
So not all orders are larger because some of the industries, so with BD bags, their customer base is very vast, but the customers that have taken it on as trial, their repeat orders are 10 times. So they're actually putting it into their full operation. If that's any clarity, and same thing with Bupa. After the trial productions, they've increased their orders to maybe even more than 10 times, about 20, 30 times to cover all of their logistic needs and operational needs.
Awesome. So yeah, super positive stuff. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out what are the best questions to ask in these final minutes. And we definitely, here's a good one from Hadrian. So it's mostly about like being able to replace foil packaging as well. So, we know that's really common in a lot of food products. And do you think there's room to move into that space as well? And, not only be replacing single-use packaging, but use foils and foil liners, for example?
Adrian, that's a good question. I think in regards to that, we're not really there. But on a positive thing, we're actually in the development of doing shrink wraps. So we want to work with factories, like in the industries, like just because they just wrap the products on pallets and they put them up, and then by the time it comes down, they cut it. That's just plastic wastage. And that's across all industries. So that's really the next path in terms of research and development. And we're pretty much there. So we've already kind of like, it's all just now tidying it up now and just getting it certified for industry and commercial for use. But yeah, no, sorry, in regards to the foil, no, we don't.
That's okay. Cool. Well, I think we'll leave it there. I just want to mention to everyone that If you have expressed your interest in investing in cassava bags this time, there is a way to contact the team and ask them these questions that you have been asking tonight, which has been really fantastic. I even love learning more about the businesses that I've been working with for weeks and months before this has happened. But yeah, there's a way to contact the team. If you head into your Birchal profile, you can see that there's a send message button, which will let you email and connect with the team and ask more specific questions if you have any going forward. You can also contact Birchal if you have any questions about your particular investment, which is just at support@birchal.com.au. But yeah, I want to say thank you to everyone who's attended this evening's webinar, and thank you to the Cassava Bags Cassava Bags Australia team for also sharing so much more about your business. As I mentioned before, well, maybe I didn't mention, the webinar recording will be available, and we'll circulate it with all of the attendees and EOI registrations after this. And yeah, it's very important to note that the offer will be going live for cassava bags on Tuesday next week. So please make sure you have expressed your interest so that you receive all the emails from the company about when the offer will open and how you can invest. Yeah, and it'll be a really exciting time to, see how the campaign goes and, watch the company go further.
And just coming off that, no, thank you on behalf of all of us. Super excited. We already have 500 investors in the past, and I think they play a massive contribution to our business. So we really do, not only in terms of an investment perspective, but we just want you guys to be also a part of the business. So reach out to us, definitely, like what Zoe said. We'll be happy to get on a call, answer any other questions that you may have, and maybe a particular role in terms of like what you can kind of like contribute to the business, because we take all advice seriously, and all our investors, we want to kind of really get to know them on a personal level. And I'm not too sure if all of you guys have got samples. Would love to send samples. We do pet waste, pretty much mailers, pet waste bags. We do retail bags. We show you films of our product. If you want to look at the cups or anything, reach out to us. We'll be love to give you guys samples.
Great.
Just coming off that, thank you as well. Thank you, Zoe, for having us today. And yeah, I'll just pass you back on to Zoe.
Yeah, sure. I was just going to say one last thing, which is that it's very important to become familiar with the documents that will be made available when the offer does go live. So you might see that Birchal has a CSF risk warning everywhere. So please consider the risk warning. Make sure you read the offer document, the company constitution and subscription agreement, and become very familiar with what you're investing in and how your shares, what kind of shares you're buying. But yeah, that's it for now. And I'm going to finish just by saying thank you and goodbye. So thanks, everyone. I'm back.
Everyone.
Bye.
Bye.